Namaste, yogis, and welcome to Yinspired Yoga. I am grateful you are here, clicking play and investing in yourself today. Today we're going to practice cultivating gratitude. So collect your props. This is going to be a classic Yinspired class where we infuse those concepts of yin, which is the quiet, the calm, the peaceful. And in a practical sense, that means some longer, more passive holds. The whole idea is to feel good, feel comfortable, and help your body naturally release, and then your mind as well. I have two blocks here, a blanket and a bolster, but it does not have to be a fancy yoga tool. It can be any little pillows or cushions, towels from your house. So collect your things. I'm sitting on a little bit of height in a kneeling position. I find that helps me keep my spine as erect as possible. And then bring yourself to the center of your mat. Perhaps close your eyes and focus in on your breath. Just notice the quality of your breath. Try to remove any sense of judgment. And as you sit here in these first few seconds, send a little gratitude or thank you to yourself for making this time, for prioritizing this practice. And then let that go and take a couple breaths to set your intention for today. And then with your next exhale, let that go. And we begin practice. We're going to start by creating a vessel mudra. So just right about at your belly button, bring one hand on top of the other and just create a little bowl type structure right at the base of the belly. Close your eyes if it's comfortable or just look down to a gentle gaze. Now the vessel can symbolize acceptance, letting things come in that are there. You're just kind of an open gate. And gratitude really is an ultimate form of acceptance. Acceptance is taking things for how they are and being okay with that, surrendering to it. Gratitude kicks it up a notch and has a wonderment around things as they are, and an appreciation and an awe. Albert Einstein says, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is that as though everything is a miracle. And that quote really spoke to me for this class. And just if you imagine when you open your eyes, just everything shining with like glitter on it, and just having this wonderment and gratitude kind of cross-cutting. So now just slowly bring those hands, slide them up your body towards your heart, and then face your fingers forward and bring your palms up toward the sky. You can open your eyes if you like or keep them closed. And you're kind of letting go of all the acceptance you just brought into your heart and your core, sending it out into the world, clasping your hands over your head, and then with an exhale, bringing those hands down towards your heart. The idea here is to help your heart feel full. Inhale up, clasp. Exhale, bring it down. Two more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Bring those thumbs towards your sternum, your heart center, And maybe bring your forehead down towards your fingers. Keep that spine nice and straight. And notice if you feel your heartbeat. Bring your hands to your thighs, slowly bring your head up, flutter your eyes open if they're closed, and let's move into our first posture. We're gonna come into a child's pose. So come sideways on your mat, get some padding beneath your knees if you like, stretch on back, and come down, head towards the ground. And now think about what's most important here is I want your third eye center to be connected to the earth. So this third eye, or like the middle of your forehead, is the seat of your intuition. It's like an all-knowing. And then the earth, you know, is this source energy, and it's very grounding. And so by matching those two together, it creates this very peaceful, calming loop. And you can imagine energy going both ways. And so just here, you know, y'all are in child's pose. I'm sitting up so you can hear me. Imagine, just send out some awareness of this earth. An awareness of how it's supporting you right here, right now. Send out some wonderment about how it is floating in the sky. How the sun is beating down or the moon is shining bright. The stars are glittering even if you can't see them. You know, be so grateful for the bigness. And then think about, notice if you feel your heart beating here. A lot of times you can feel it against your thighs or the earth. And just think of that miracle, and you know, praise your heart for keeping going. You don't even need to think about it. And it's just constantly breathing, beating life into you. Your lungs fill up with air. It's this amazing system. And finally here, just reflect on the idea of surrender and acceptance, and this idea of childness. You know, as adults, we have a lot of responsibilities and need to control, a need for making decisions and using our willpower. So just embrace here in this safe space the ability to let go, to surrender. And send out perhaps some gratitude for those qualities. And now if you feel, we're going to be moving out of this pose, if you'd like to just kind of bring your hands to one side, maybe 10 o'clock, just stretch out those hips a little bit. And then 2 o'clock, any kind of little wiggles and wobbles. You can work yourself up to cat and cow on all fours. Inhale, just 2 or 3 rounds. Exhale, bring that middle back and belly button toward the sky. Inhale, head and tail lift. Exhale. Wonderful. Come back to neutral. Just squeeze your core a moment. Then flip your toes under and then walk your hands back and then kind of flip your knees up so that you're on the balls of your feet. If this is uncomfortable, you can get some padding for under the heels, maybe like a pillow underneath. If it's unbearable for your knees or your feet, you can come to a ragdoll position, and if that's too much, you can put your hands on a chair and just kind of get the sense of a surrender type pose. But if you are able, bring those feet, those balls of the feet down with your body in this very ball-like crouched in pose. Place those hands on the ground And here I want you to think about your roots. You know, physically we're experiencing some sensation in the feet here, in the lower calves. And that's what roots us down. And as you sit here, imagine roots literally like growing out of your feet into the ground. And think a little bit about what roots you in life, whether it could be like a person, a belief system, a place. Just kind of draw up a couple rooting forces in your life. I have a beautiful way that this author, Rupi Kaur, from The Sun and Her Flowers, describes this concept. And so I want you to think about, here's her poem. They should feel like home, a place that grounds your life, where you go to take the day off. So that's who or what I want you to think about right now. And just appreciate the groundedness these forces provide. You know, sometimes roots can be tangly, but you know, they keep you rooted and strong. And just give 2 or 3 breaths to honor those roots. Beautiful. And then pressing into your hands, extend your legs. Woo! That should feel good. Maybe like bend slightly once or twice. Just kind of get the blood flowing. You might want some support under your hands or kind of walk out your feet. And just, you know, reflect on the symbolism of, you know, your feet are nice and rooted, but then, you know, these branches, or there's some freedom flowing here. Then I want you to extend your spine. We're going to do a little bit of half sun salutations. Fold in and think about moving in a beautiful way. Bring yourself all the way up. Arms come to heart center. 1 breath here. Inhale those arms up. Exhale, forward fold. You're so beautiful and graceful. Inhale, send gratitude for your body for moving. Then as you fold forward, crouch down into that little rock again. Connect with those roots with 1 breath. Then on your next inhale, extend that spine, straighten the legs. Fold it in. Bring it on up, shine your heart, connect to sky. Exhale, arms in, 1 breath. Inhale, arms up, 2 more rounds. Exhale, forward. Inhale, extend spine. Make it beautiful. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, connect to roots. Inhale, bring it up, extend the spine. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale here. Exhale, 1 more time. I love to do this with eyes closed. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, spine extends. Exhale, down into our little ball. Inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale up. Exhale in. Take 3 breaths here. Feel rooted in your feet and light in your upper body. After your 3rd exhale, spread those feet a little farther than hips width apart and point your toes kind of 45-degree angle. We're going to come down into a squat and make it some knee pops. So we're going to come into a deep squat here. We're headed towards a butterfly pose, so if this is not accessible for you, just kind of sit on down and bring the soles of your feet together. But just, again, bring those hands into this prayer mudra. It's called Anjali Asana in yoga. I'm closing my eyes a lot in this class to help bring myself inward. Beautiful job. And then sink back all the way. Move any props. And you can kind of stretch out those legs if you need. Okay. So we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. Find yourself on the ground. And then we're just going to go right into a butterfly pose. I love to have some support for my head now. It's not, oh, how far can you go? You want to kind of like melt into yourself. So it's kind of like up and over, let that spine round. I do want you to keep your core a little tight. You don't want to put too much that will help protect your lower back. And just kind of fold in here. Now this pose helps, you might feel it on your inner thigh, that's your kidneys, and you also feel some hips potentially. It's the classic yin pose. And this area of the body, and you guys are still in your pose, really starts to bring out all in us that's very human. So you think about, life and sexuality, sensuality, but also art, creativity. So try to bring the awareness to those, to like the humanness of yourself. And just the amazement. I love this quote by G.K. Chesterton, who, talks about how we say grace before meals, and that's very helpful. And he goes, all right, but I say grace before the concert and the opera, and grace before the play and pantomime, and grace before I open a book, and grace before sketching, painting, swimming, fencing, boxing, walking, playing, and dancing, and grace before I dip the pen in the ink. And so I just let that settle. You might be thinking, what do you mean grace? And I think the root word, it's all related. This kind of like thankfulness for these things in our life. And again, if this wasn't clear, I'd love your forehead to be pressing against something, that same idea as in child pose. We're connecting that seat of our intuition with a source energy, a grounding source energy, and creating a loop energetically through our spine, through the limbs that are stretching, like a balancing loop. Couple more breaths here. And then slowly activate your core, bring your body up, remove your props, straighten your legs, kind of do any kind of movement that feels right. Sometimes it feels good to do like a reverse table. Maybe swish those legs from side to side. And then just for a moment, we're going to do a forward fold. So deep breath, inhale, and then exhale. Just as far as you go. I'm very flexible in this way, so don't feel, just kind of realigns everything. Okay, now we're gonna do some fun little rock and rolling. So, there's a part of gratitude where we're still and we set our intention and we think about these things. But then there's a part where we need to flow. You know, and I love the idea that the world is in balance and it's our job to flow. So it's not about finding balance per se, it's about just kind of going with it, having trust, and being grateful for the experience. All right, so then lay back down, or lay down, this is our first time here, and just feel your spine rooted against the floor. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest. Just going to do a quick hip stretch here. So extend one leg up and over. So it's a figure 4 stretch. You can have your leg on the ground or bring it up towards your chest. Just inhale here and exhale. And then straighten both legs up, twist those ankles. Opposite side, so bring the opposite leg across the knee and pull it on in. Okay, then bring those feet up, twirl the ankles. And then we're gonna bring your soles of the feet to the ground. We'll cross one knee on top of the other. I'm doing my right first, is on top. And then bring your legs up and bring your legs over toward the left. So if your right leg's over, you bring them toward the left. And so we're coming into a reclined twist. And nothing too intense here. I think it feels good not to use props on this one, but you know, you could put a pillow under one of your shoulders or your knee, or like have pillows under your knees. Whatever feels good and whatever modification here. And now what I want you to try to think about here is those things in life that you may not feel so grateful for. So maybe the things you tend to complain a lot about. It doesn't have to be the most, like, if there's a serious crisis going on, not necessarily that. Something a little softer, a little gentler, like that gnawing, you know, toys all over the ground, or sitting in traffic, or, you know, whatever it is. The busyness of the holidays and the hecticness. So just bring those things into your mind. And then just imagine the world without them. You know, what would it mean if the house was completely spotless all the time? What would it mean if you didn't have a job to go to? You know, a lot of times we experience this kind of idea with a loss. So like my dog jumps all over people and it's hectic and it's hard to have kids over. But then once she's gone, the house is very quiet. And you kind of miss, ironically, how she jumped all over everyone, you know? So just imagine, like, what if those toys weren't there? What would that mean? And it's not necessarily that you actually want that. So in this funny way, in this twisted way, send gratitude for those complaints, you know. The Buddha says, with our thoughts we make our world. So with a complaint, you know, that's what your world's going to feel like. So try to cultivate this practice of viewing those tougher, those shadowier things with appreciation now, rather than when they're gone. All right, take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring those knees to center. And then just do any recentering if you want to bring your knees in towards your chest or just kind of wiggle your hips on the ground. Just notice how your body feels, and then we're going to switch sides. So I'm going to this time cross my left leg over my right, bring my knees up, and then bring my legs over toward the right. So on this side, it's more your time to just kind of let the mind do what it's going to do here. And your job, you can direct it if you like, or just kind of watch. Take 3 more breaths. Bring your focus back. We've been wandered. Bring those knees up into center. Maybe give them a little squeeze. Rock and roll side to side or front to back. And for the next pose, or this is our last pose before Shavasana, you can come to a seated position. I'm going to grab a bolster. You can roll blankets or towels along your spine, or you can even just set up 2 blocks or books or something like that, kind of in a T shape, one for your upper spine and one for your head. But this works really well, and I actually like a little more heart. I'm going to have more of a heart opening, so I'm going to add more height. So what we're going to do here is, depending on how you feel, you can bring your soles of your feet together and maybe put a blanket underneath. Or you can just kind of sit cross-legged or straighten them out. But we're going to bring ourselves back into a reclined heart opener. This is like one of the juicy, wonderful ones. You've earned it. Hopefully your heart is feeling full, is feeling a little more able to crack open. So take the time you need to adjust into the pose. And then after 2 or 3 more breaths, just settle. You know, perfection is where you are, and so unless you're in pain, try to just be still and feel the experience. And then for this pose, I have one last quote. You guys stay where you are. And it's a little poem by George Herbert. Thou hast given so much to me, give one thing more, a grateful heart, not thankful when it pleaseth me, as if thy blessings had spare days, but such a heart whose pulse may be thy praise. And so see if you can feel your beating pulse, your beating heartbeat in this pose. So if you can't, just imagine it. And then just decide that with each heartbeat, it is a way that you are extending gratitude to the world, to universe, to source, to whatever word. And then just imagine that gratitude pouring out of your chest right now. Enjoy your pose. Perhaps bring your focus back to the intention you set at the beginning of class. Keeping the focus and attention inward, slowly roll to one side, remove your props, and then find your way into Shavasana, just lying down flat. Keep the palms up towards sky in a receptive position. Let your feet move out toward the outside. And let the full practice incorporate into your body right now. If you are in the mood for more of a meditation, you can feel free to come to a seated position. I'll end Shavasana with 3 bells. And then our series will be over today. Namaste.